Yesterday at the 6 o'clock Mass, I was speaking about an illness that has seized, if you will, our society. And it is not relinquished to just a specific age group. I think the reality is that it's all over. And the fact is that many of us have encountered it, most often than not, as I was saying last night, probably in traffic. It's called entitlement. Entitlement oftentimes blinds us, and it blinds us to a reality that you and I as Christians are called to live: humility. I said once, and I'll say again, and we'll probably rot saying the very same thing. Humility is not seeing ourselves more than God sees us, as also not seeing ourselves less than God sees us. And I think entitlement helps us in a way to see ourselves more than God sees us, as though something is owed to us, as though we deserve something because of who we are, where we come from, the color of our skin, the language we speak, the creed we profess. And when we do that, we're doomed. We become yet another statistic, if you will. What Jesus is speaking about today in the gospel, answering Peter's question, is precisely that, kind of reeling him back in. The question Peter asked, how many times should I forgive someone who offends me, someone who has done something against me? 7 times? A perfect number, though. It's not just simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rather, the number of completion. Jesus rebukes that answer with, no, not 7 times, but 77 times. In other words, indefinitely. There is no number. And what a wonderful thing to remind us of why we have to do that. Not because we're floor mats or a doormat that people walk all over us. That's not the purpose. What Jesus portrays in the gospel story today is the reality of your life as it is mine. We're as much those debtors as anybody else. And we forget that. We become entitled because I come to Mass, because I play rosaries, because I'm involved in this group, because I'm a leader in that group, because I'm the priest. And we become entitled. And we forget. And Jesus in the gospel story today reminds us. Now maybe some of you are sitting there and say, Father, I get what you say. It makes sense. But my heart still hurts. I find it difficult to forgive because of this that happened in my life, of what was done against me, against my family, whatever. And I get that. And I highly doubt that God doesn't either. Of course He does. And I always say that there are 2 very different extremes when it comes to forgiveness. I can't and I won't. I can't means my heart is still hurting, and God understands that. I won't means that I've closed myself off completely. I've become the debtor who choked a fellow servant. And when we do that, we become entitled. That's when I have taken the place of God. That's when I no longer seek mercy, but I believe I'm mercy itself, and I dispense it at my will. My brothers and sisters, you and I are not mercy. We are the product of mercy, lest we forget who died on the cross for you and for me. And if such great a price has been paid, if such great sacrifice has been cast out for you and for me, then we must receive it with love and recognizing that everything that you and I have is pure gift, even mercy itself. The mercy that God has shown to you as He's shown to me, even when we do not deserve it, because that's what love does. Love is what makes someone capable of forgiving, and one who loves much is capable of forgiving much. So perhaps today, as we listen to this gospel, and as we continue journeying through this time of Lent, maybe ask ourselves, have I withheld forgiveness because I feel entitled? Have I withheld forgiveness because I feel someone doesn't deserve it? Have I withheld forgiveness because the person is not deemed worthy enough of that? Or have I been unable to forgive because I'm still hurting? Have I been unable to forgive because my heart still bleeds, because it's still tender, because I still hurt? Whatever the answer to that is, bring it to Him. Bring it to Him and listen to the very words that He responds to Peter, not 7 times, but 77 times. Notice, please, there's no timeline that Jesus gives as when we are to forgive, just that we have to. And when that moment is right, when our hearts are ready for that, when the Lord allows us and gives us that possibility to be able to forgive once again, that's the moment that you and I are freed from the bondage that we have thought that we have put someone in, when in reality we've incarcerated ourselves, robbing us of peace, of joy, and of happiness. What a wonderful God. What a great Son He has, that He sends us His Son precisely to remind us of the truths that we need to be fully alive. May we never forget them, my brothers and sisters. Not 7 times, but 77 times. Amen.